What nobody tells you about workplace pensions. Right, here's something that might sting a little. There is a very good chance that you are losing thousands of pounds, maybe tens of thousands, from your workplace pension, and you don't even know it. Not because anyone's stealing from you, but because there are things about workplace pensions that nobody sits you down and explains. Not your employer. Not HR. Not even the pension company themselves. And today, I'm going to fix that. So let's start with the absolute basics, because even here, there are things people get wrong. If you're employed in the UK, earn over £10,000 a year, and you're aged between 22 and state pension age, your employer is legally required to enroll you into a workplace pension. That's been the law since auto-enrolment rolled out back in 2012. And here's the thing, most people just let it happen. They see the deduction on their payslip, they shrug, and they move on with their lives. Which, honestly, getting enrolled in the first place is a good thing. But sleepwalking through the next 30 years of contributions? That's where the problems start. Because here's the first thing nobody tells you. The minimum contribution is not enough. Let me say that again. The minimum is not enough. Right now, the legal minimum is 8% of your qualifying earnings. You pay 5%, your employer puts in 3%. And that sounds decent, doesn't it? 8%, that's nearly a tenth of your salary going into a pension every month. Surely that'll be fine? Well, let's do some rough maths. Say you're 25 years old, earning 30,000 quid a year, and you contribute the minimum 8% until you're 67. Depending on investment growth, you might end up with a pension pot of somewhere around £250,000 to £300,000. Now that sounds like a lot of money. But here's the reality check, that might give you an income of roughly £10,000 to £12,000 a year in retirement. And that's before inflation eats into it. 10 to 12 grand a year. Could you live on that? Even with the state pension on top, which is currently about £11,500 a year for the full new state pension, you're looking at maybe £22,000, £23,000 combined. That's not exactly living the dream, is it? Most financial planners suggest you actually need to be putting away around 12 to 15% of your salary, including your employer's contribution, to have a comfortable retirement. Some say even more. So if you're sitting at the minimum, and you can afford to bump it up even a little, that is one of the single best financial moves you can make. And I'll explain why it's even better than you think in just a moment. But first, the second thing nobody tells you. Your employer might match more than you realize. A lot of employers will match your contributions up to a certain percentage. So if the default is you pay 5% and they pay 3%, some employers will actually say, if you put in more, we'll put in more too. Maybe they'll match you pound for pound up to 6%. Or even 8% or 10%. This is genuinely free money. I don't use that phrase lightly because in personal finance, very little is actually free. But employer matching? That's as close as it gets. For every extra pound you put in, they put in a pound too. That is a 100% instant return on your money before it's even been invested. And here's the mad thing, loads of people don't take it. They just leave that money on the table because they never looked into what their employer offers. So here's what I want you to do. This week, go to your HR department, or log into your pension portal, or dig out that pension booklet you were handed on your first day and immediately filed in a drawer. Find out what your employer's matching policy actually is. If you can afford to increase your contributions to get the full match, do it. You are literally turning down a pay rise if you don't. Okay, thing number 3 that nobody tells you, and this one's a big one. Tax relief is incredibly powerful, and salary sacrifice makes it even better. When you contribute to your workplace pension, you get tax relief. That means if you're a basic rate taxpayer, for every 80p you put in, the government tops it up to £1. If you're a higher rate taxpayer, you can claim back even more through your self-assessment. But here's where it gets really interesting. A lot of employers offer something called salary sacrifice, sometimes called smart pension or exchange, and it's one of those things that can save you a genuinely surprising amount of money. With salary sacrifice, your employer reduces your gross salary by the amount of your pension contribution and then pays that straight into your pension on your behalf. The result? You don't pay income tax on that money. And this is the bit that catches people off guard, you don't pay national insurance on it either. Your employer doesn't pay their national insurance on it either, and some employers will pass those savings on to you by putting extra into your pension. For a basic rate taxpayer, salary sacrifice can save you about 12% in national insurance on top of the 20% income tax. That's a 32% saving compared to taking the money as salary. For higher rate taxpayers, it's even more dramatic. And yet, and this is what frustrates me, so many people have no idea whether their employer offers salary sacrifice or not. Again, check. Ask the question. It could be worth hundreds, even thousands of pounds a year. Right, number 4. And this one's a bit uncomfortable. *** Your default investment fund might not be right for you. ***. When you're auto-enrolled, your pension contributions get invested into what's called a default fund. And for a lot of people, the default fund is fine. It's designed to be a reasonable one-size-fits-all option. But here's the issue, one-size-fits-all means one size fits nobody perfectly. If you're in your 20s or 30s, the default fund might be too conservative for you. You've got decades until retirement. You can afford to take on more risk, ride out their ups and downs, and potentially grow your pot significantly more over time. Most default funds include a feature called lifestyling, where they automatically shift your investments into lower risk assets as you approach retirement. Which sounds sensible, but if you're 28 years old, your money is being managed with a glide path designed for someone who might retire in a completely different economic environment. Now, I'm not saying you need to become a stock-picking expert. But it is worth logging into your pension, looking at what fund you're actually in, and understanding whether it matches your age, your risk tolerance, and your retirement timeline. Most workplace pension providers, like Nest, or Scottish Widows, or Aviva, or Legal & General, let you switch funds online fairly easily. And some offer funds with lower fees or better historical performance than the default. Which brings me to number 5. ***. Fees will quietly eat your pension alive if you're not paying attention. ***. The difference between a fund that charges 0.15% a year and one that charges 0.75% a year might not sound like much. It's 0.6 of a percentage point. Who cares, right? Well, let me show you why you should care. Over a 40-year career, that difference in fees on a reasonably sized pension pot could cost you tens of thousands of pounds. Literally tens of thousands. Because fees compound just like returns do, except they compound against you. Every year, the fee is taken as a percentage of your total pot, which means as your pot grows, you're paying more in actual pounds. And that money that gets taken in fees? It's no longer growing for you. It's gone. Now the government did cap auto-enrolment default fund charges at 0.75%, which is good. But 0.75% is still the cap, not the target. Many funds charge much less. So check what you're paying. It's usually buried in the fund fact sheet, but it's there. Alright, number 6, and this one is especially important if you've had more than one job. ***, you probably have pension pots scattered everywhere, and you might have lost track of some of them. ***. The average person in the UK will have around 11 jobs over their lifetime. If each of those comes with a workplace pension, and since auto-enrolment, most of them will, that's potentially 11 different pension pots with 11 different providers, all charging different fees, all invested in different funds, and all sending letters to addresses you moved out of years ago. There is a free government service called the Pension Tracing Service. It's online, it's simple, and it can help you find old pensions you've lost track of. I'd also recommend Money Helper, the government-backed guidance service, which can help you understand your options once you've found them. Now, once you've tracked down your old pensions, you might want to consider consolidating them. Bringing them all together into one pot, maybe your current workplace pension, or a SIPP, a self-invested personal pension, can make things much easier to manage, and potentially cheaper too. But, when this is important, don't just transfer without checking first. Some older pensions have valuable guarantees, like guaranteed annuity rates, that you'd lose if you transferred out. If in doubt, speak to a regulated financial advisor before moving anything. It's one of those situations where paying for proper advice could save you a fortune. Thing number 7, and this is one that most people my age don't think about at all. What happens to your pension when you die? Cheerful topic, I know. But it matters. Workplace pensions actually have some pretty favorable rules when it comes to death benefits. If you die before the age of 75, your pension pot can usually be passed on to your beneficiaries completely tax-free. If you die after 75, they'll pay income tax on withdrawals, but the money still passes to them, it doesn't just disappear. But, and here's the really important bit, you need to fill in what's called an expression of wish form, or a nomination of beneficiaries form. This tells the pension scheme who you'd like the money to go to. Without it, the pension trustees have to decide, and they might not make the choice you'd want. It takes about 2 minutes to fill in. Most people never do it. Don't be most people. And finally, number 8. You can't touch your workplace pension until you're 55, and that's rising to 57 in 2028. I mention this because I've met people who think of their pension as some kind of savings account they can dip into if things get tight. You can't. It's locked away. And honestly? That's a feature, not a bug. It stops you from raiding your future self's retirement fund to pay for a holiday or a new car. Your 67-year-old self will thank you. But it does mean you need other savings and investments for the short and medium term. Your pension is not your emergency fund. It's not your house deposit fund. It's your retirement fund. Let it do its job. So let me pull all of this together for you with a quick action list. If you do nothing else after watching this video, do these 5 things. 1. Check your employer's matching policy and increase your contributions if you can. 2. Find out if salary sacrifice is available and opt in if it makes sense for you. 3. Log into your pension and look at what fund you're in and what fees you're paying. 4. Track down any old pensions using the pension tracing service. And 5. Fill in your beneficiary nomination form. These are not complicated steps. None of them require a finance degree. But together, they could be worth tens of thousands of pounds to you over your lifetime. And that is not an exaggeration. Your workplace pension is probably the most powerful wealth-building tool you have access to. But only if you actually pay attention to it. Don't just set it and forget it. Set it and then check in on it at least once a year, the same way you'd check your energy bill or your phone contract. It deserves at least that much attention, doesn't it? Arguably quite a lot more. If this video has been useful, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. We put out new videos every week on how to make your money work harder in the UK, whether that's pensions, ISAs, property, budgeting, all of it. And if you've got a question about your workplace pension, or there's something I didn't cover today, drop it in the comments. I read every single one, and it helps me figure out what videos to make next. Right. Go check your pension. Seriously. Do it today. I'll see you in the next one.